Hello, my name is Dom Conlon, and I'm the poet who wrote Star-Nosed Mole, which is illustrated by Rhian Davie. A Star-Nosed Mole is a collection of poems which are inspired by the weird and wonderful things we can see on Earth. Things like the Star-Nosed Mole itself, which is a peculiar looking mole whose red nose looks like a starfish or an octopus, which is squashed against a window. Now, I write a lot of poems about natural wonders, and sometimes I'm inspired by the different types of sharks we might find in our oceans. Other times I'm intrigued by different types of trees or birds, or even the types of wind there can be, from a breeze to a hurricane. This planet is extraordinary. So extraordinary, in fact, that I began to wonder about all this diversity. Life on Earth is diverse. That means there are many different ways in which life has taken shape to survive. And to me, many of these ways seem almost impossible. And that's when I wanted to write a book which captured the most extraordinary, the most impossible of these wonders. Why, I thought, would a simple mole develop this strange looking nose? Writing anything begins with that question. Why? Why are there frogs with translucent skin? Why does the pangolin look as though they're wearing armour? Why does the superb bird of paradise look the way it does? Why are there clouds or rainbows? It's this word which sets me off thinking, and to write any of my poems, I have to find out some answers. So I read as much as I can about an animal, plant or natural event, and then I'll often find that these answers are leading me to another question. How? When I ask why, I find that nature has first asked itself, how? How can I, a tree, a frog, a bird, an insect, how can I survive where I live? Because to survive, life has to learn some special skills, like maybe growing fur because it's very cold, or leaves which can store water for weeks and months because that plant might live in the desert where there's very little rain. Or maybe those leaves are really pretty because the plant wants to attract other creatures. That's what happened with the Venus flytrap, whose red surface looks like a tasty fruit, but really, the flytrap is just waiting for a fly or a spider to come along and sniff around, and that's when it snaps shut and eats the poor thing. Learning the ways in which nature adapts to survive inspires me as a poet. The facts are fascinating, and the many diverse ways in which life takes shape finds its way into my poems. That's why I wrote a poem about the glass frog. I started my poem about the glass frog with the line, like a drop of morning dew on a leaf. I could only write that after I'd learned that the frog is only small and that it sits on its leaves, that its skin is almost entirely see-through, and that it lives in the forests of South America beside rivers. It reminded me of a drop of water sitting on a leaf. Then I began to think about what else I might see. What else lives near the glass frog? See a hummingbird, or snails, ants, and the forest trees. I could describe those things in my poem and then think, what do they mean to my little glass frog sitting on its leaf? And I learned some of them would see him as food, especially his eggs, which he looks after, because they're his children. I love that we can learn about many other things just by learning about one thing. And that by just saying one thing, we open up the world to all that learning. Sometimes I'll use a poem just to simply describe the different things a wonder will remind me of. Like the fang tooth is a fearsome looking fish, big mouth with huge teeth. Like that. It reminds me of a dog, but I didn't think it was simply enough to say it reminds me of a dog. I wanted to extend my image so that it became even more fearsome. So I thought of it, if it was a dog, then it'd be a guard dog, because they're fierce. But then even that wasn't enough. So I imagined what fearsome thing might want to own a fearsome guard dog. And I chose a hurricane. Because if something fearsome, like a hurricane, is a guard dog, then that guard dog must be even more terrifying. And in that poem, I go on to describe the fish as a storm which even thunder will hide under the bed from. Imagine being so scary that something as powerful and loud as thunder would want to hide from you. I like writing poems which help us to see things in a new way, and sometimes I use that to talk about my own feelings. I put myself in the shoes of something else. So when I wrote a poem about the flying possum, I described her and the way she sleeps during the day, all curled up nice and cosy. I wanted my readers to feel just as snug and to think of themselves curled up in a rug or a blanket. But then I wanted to show how the possum opens itself up and leaps into the air just for the fun of it. I imagined how free I might feel if I could fly. I imagined how much fun that would be. We can use poetry in so many ways. We can use metaphors and similes to build images in our minds. And we can use even the sound of words to do the same. But it's most important to me that I don't forget that those things are just tools to use when we want them. There are tools, not rules, in poetry. And our poems should be about how we see the world, how we talk about the world. So learn all you can about the thing you're writing about. Ask yourself, what do you want other people to know? But then also ask yourself, how do you feel? And use all your senses to help your poem come alive. I hope I get sent lots and lots of your poems. I've loved writing this book, learning about all the wonders in it. But I'm more curious about the ways in which you see the world. So have fun with your writing. Bye-bye.